Hello, everyone, and welcome yet again. Hi, Roger,
Thank
how are
you.
you?
I'm fine, thanks. And how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. Good to
Wonderful.
have you around.
Nice to see you too.
Hi, Elizabeth, how are you?
Hi, Favor. How are you? I'm okay, thank you. How is it on your side?
Good to have you around. Things are good on my end,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
That's great.
Okay, welcome. Welcome to you guys
Thank
on the
you.
forum. Those who will be joining us online, welcome to all of you. Welcome to the Financial Literacy Forum. So, as we begin, I want to give a disclaimer to everybody watching that on this forum, we do have financial advisors and financial experts from all over around the world. Okay, mostly the representation is Africa, but the contents that we share on this forum should not be used for as financial advice. Okay, I hope that is clear to all our viewers. That's the disclaimer I'm giving. If you want to take a financial action, you should always seek a financial advisor before you take that action. Do not use the content in our financial literacy forum and say we heard it from the financial literacy forum. But we do have financial experts on the forum. Even right now, today on the forum, we have financial experts joining us from Zimbabwe and Zambia. So yeah, welcome to all of you yet again. And for today, we have an interesting topic or conversation for today, and we'll be getting right into it shortly. But just before we get into it, I just want to interact, just find out from Mr. Roger so far. How has been the experience so far since we started with the forum, from your experience?
Uh, Actually, I think from my end, I know I used to stammer a lot, and Favor can attest to that. But
Yes.
I'm seeing myself on daily basis improving to an extent where Elizabeth is able to get at least 90% of what I'm
Okay.
trying to explain.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I can also see a bit of, from all of us, I can see a bit of confidence when we are uh, articulating things. There is no that fear to say, no, I'll make a mistake. So I see us going
Mhm.
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that feedback. Yeah, so you people joining us online, join the forum as well, so that you can also be confident in your speech and in your expression of financial concepts. It's very interesting. We learn a lot from each other, and I'm sure you do learn a lot watching us online. Elizabeth, how about you? How's been the experience since we started?
Well, thank you. My experience has been good. I can say I've really learned a lot as well. There are a lot of
Mm-hmm.
things that I didn't know before I joined this forum. So now I
Mm-hmm.
think I can say I've been enlightened on many things concerning financial literacy, as well as
Mm-hmm.
the boosting of confidence, like my previous colleague Roger mentioned. I think, yeah,
Yes.
I've learned a lot and I'm still learning.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, that's good. Hi, Nyokabi, how are you? Are you there? Okay, seems
Uh,
to be joining us
Rita,
as we put. Oh,
I am
yes, you're
here.
good?
Yes.
Okay, welcome as well.
Thank you. Apologies, I'm in the dark.
It's okay. We are just glad you're around.
Okay.
So I'll be
Um,
introducing this. Pardon?
okay, sir.
Yes, you wanted to share something as well?
For me, I found the sessions very informative because we are
Mm-hmm.
constantly learning, and financial literacy, it's a must for us to plan our financial future. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I find the sessions very informative.
Yeah. Okay, I appreciate that feedback. Thanks for that and welcome once again. So for today's topic, we will be looking at viewing financial as learning opportunities. Okay, viewing financial mistakes as learning opportunities. And we're just so to begin with, I'll go ahead and introduce us to the first segment where we go through book summaries, because as part of financial literacy, it's not just about crunching numbers, it's also about the mindset that you have towards your finances, right? Yeah, so we'll get into our book summary for today, which will set the stage for our discussion, and then we can proceed from there. So I hope we are all excited to get into it. Otherwise, I am excited. So just dive into the book summary. And the book summary today, fascinatingly enough, is on mindset. I don't know if you've heard about this idea between the growth mindset and the fixed mindset. So we are going to be actually getting to learn about the book where this is from, and we'll be understanding what the difference is between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset, and how our brains literally change whenever we go through experiences in life. Okay, so let's get into it, and we'll be with you shortly.
When I was young, I always felt like I was being judged. At the age of 7, I had developed a severe stutter, and I feared that I might not be as smart as the other kids in my class. In school, I had one all-consuming goal: don't look stupid. In my head, I'd always be thinking, what are the chances that I'm going to stutter and look stupid in this situation? If the chances were high, then I would do anything I could to avoid that situation. It wasn't until I read the book Mindset by Carol Dweck that I really understood my constant fear of judgment. In the book Mindset, author and renowned psychologist Carol Dweck explains that the constant fear of judgment and the need to avoid looking stupid stems from a core belief people have about themselves and everyone around them. That belief is, everyone has a set amount of intelligence. From that belief, the logic goes, if I only have a fixed amount of intelligence, and if I start making mistakes and look stupid doing something, then I must not have very much intelligence. Dweck calls this underlying belief a fixed mindset. If you have a fixed mindset, you essentially believe you've been dealt a hand of cards in the poker game of life, and you're stuck with those cards. If you happen to get good grades in school, and your parents praise you for it, then you might start to believe you've been dealt a royal flush. But as you get older and face competition in school, make mistakes on tests, and encounter challenging situations, you start fearing that the hand you've been dealt really isn't that good. To maintain the illusion that you're still smart and special and talented, you avoid doing anything that you might look bad at, and you simply lose interest and stop trying. Because if you show that you don't care and you're not really trying, then people can't really judge your full ability. Author Carol Dweck has seen this pattern emerge over and over again in her research. In one study, she gave 5th graders a group of puzzles to solve. Each of the puzzles was within their current puzzle-solving ability, and all the kids loved them. But when she increased the difficulty of the puzzles, the children who had been praised for their puzzle-solving ability and developed the belief that they were gifted showed a steep decline in interest and effort as the puzzles got harder. However, Dweck found that there was another group of children who didn't shy away from the puzzles once they got harder. When Carol asked them why, they said the puzzles were an opportunity for them to get smarter. These kids took the initiative and asked Carol Dweck if she could write down the names of some of the puzzles so their mom could buy more when they got home. These kids had what Carol Dweck calls a growth mindset. Growth mindset people don't believe talent and intelligence is a gift. They believe you have to work for it. A person with a growth mindset firmly believes that with the right strategy and enough effort and time, they can get better at anything. A growth mindset person believes they're always getting smarter, so they're less afraid of being labeled stupid. They know that even if they've been dealt a bad hand in the poker game of life, they can continue to draw more cards by putting in more effort and finding better strategies until they eventually have a great hand of cards. Now, this growth mindset seems inspiring. It seems cool to be able to grow our intelligence, but is it actually true? Well, 40 years ago, the answer would be no. Scientists at the time thought you could grow a little, but you were largely constrained by the default wiring of your brain. But recent science shows that they were mistaken. Based on other books I've read over the years, I've learned 3 amazing ways you can change your brain. Regardless of how old you are, You can physically grow your brain, you can speed up the circuits in your brain, and you can rewire your brain for increased performance and intelligence on specific tasks. Several years ago, before taxi drivers used GPS to get around, brain researchers took brain imaging scans of experienced London taxi drivers. Researchers noticed that the more time a London taxi driver had spent driving a taxi in London, the larger a region of the brain associated with spatial awareness and memory, the hippocampus, had become. It was apparent that the more demands the taxi drivers put on their brains, the more they had to navigate the challenging road system of London, the more neurons they were able to grow in an area of the brain that they needed to complete their job. But not all brain regions can expand in size. So, other brain regions just make circuits faster. This is done by the process of myelination. As I briefly touched on in my deep work book summary, when you focus intensely on a single subject for a period of time, you start forming white sheaths on your brain cells called myelin. This myelin acts like insulation on an electric circuit. A brain circuit with myelin can transmit information up to 10 times faster than a brain circuit without myelin. After you've added as much myelin as you can to brain cells, you can then increase the capacity of your brain by rewiring it so it activates neighboring brain regions to assist with certain tasks. You can think of this like rewiring a house, so that when you hit a switch to turn on one light, you actually turn on 2 or 3 additional lights nearby. One study showed that when a person practices guitar for hundreds of hours and uses their fingers in their left hand to play the different notes on the strings of the guitar, they light up regions of their brain associated with the left fingers, no surprise. But they also light up regions of the brain associated with the palm of the left hand. When researchers took brain scans of novice guitar players, only the fingers in the left hand were activated in the brain. It turns out that guitar players who had put in hundreds of hours of practice were able to activate more of their brain so they could play the guitar with more speed and accuracy. Now that I know that I can grow my brain's capacity, I think about challenges in a new way. Before I go into a challenge, I stop thinking, will I look smart or stupid while doing this? And start thinking, what can I learn? After a difficult challenge and a series of mistakes, I stop thinking, I'm not smart enough to do this, and start thinking, I'm not smart enough to do this yet. Now that I've changed my core belief to everyone can grow their cognitive abilities, I am less afraid of being stupid because I know I am continuously getting smarter. Even if I look stupid now, I won't look stupid very long if I apply enough effort and the right strategies. I now have the courage and confidence to go into challenging situations because those situations will allow me to upgrade my brain and learn the skills to overcome.
We are off to a good start. The growth mindset versus the fixed mindset. So how was it? So how was the book summary? Elizabeth, did you know the author of that book? Or did you know it's a book rather? You know, I'm sure you've heard about this growth mindset, fixed mindset
Yes,
thing. Yeah.
yes, I've heard about it, but I didn't know the author of the book.
You didn't know it's a book. It's actually a book.
Okay, I didn't know.
What do you believe about the growth mindset and fixed mindset? Do you think it's actually a real thing? Do you think you can get
Yes,
smarter at something? Yeah.
yes, I think so. I think a person can grow their mindset mostly through practice. If you practice something for a long time, you end up getting used to it, and then your mind tends to adjust, and it grows, and you would want to learn more. So I think that's how your mind would grow.
Okay. How about you, Mr. Roger? What do you think on the same?
Yeah, it's just like Elizabeth has said. I think someone with a growth mindset, they normally don't think twice about the negative
Yeah.
aspect of anything. Okay, they will look at it. Okay, this is negative, but I'm not going to dwell there. I can do it. If there's someone who can do it, I can do it. But for
Yeah.
those with a fixed mindset, they're always trying to not to make mistakes. They are scared of making
Yeah.
mistakes. They want whatever they are doing. They have first of all to prove that okay, someone else has done it. They have to make sure that there is security around whatever they are doing, and of course they don't want to be called certain names. So at the end of the day, they're always
Yeah.
yes. They don't want to make those mistakes. Yeah.
They play it safe. That's interesting. Thanks for that, Roger. How about you, Nyokabi? Do you believe a growth mindset actually exists? What's your view on that?
Yeah, I do believe that a growth mindset exists because for someone with a fixed mindset, this is someone who is okay with being where they are. And take them as they okay with the system is working. Let's not mess with the system. Let's continue working with the system. Someone with a growth mindset, this is someone who is constantly looking for ways of bettering themselves. So yeah, growth mindset, you're constantly looking for challenges, you're constantly looking for opportunities, and that is how we grow.
Okay, that's interesting. So everyone on the forum here believes the growth mindset is real and it exists. I don't know about you guys watching online. If you feel a growth mindset exists, you can just leave your thoughts in the comments. If you feel it's not real, we have a fixed mindset, and you can feel free and share your thoughts in the comments as well. Yeah, so building on this conversation, remember our topic is about viewing financial mistakes as learning opportunities. So in other words, on this forum, we're going to look at it from the growth mindset point of view. Okay, so let's start by maybe looking at what a few financial mistakes are, right? Because when we're talking like this, saying viewing financial mistakes as learning opportunities, well, maybe we might not even have in mind what a financial mistake is. So I'm just going to give a few examples of financial mistakes. So overspending is one of them. Okay, I'm sure you can get to understand why overspending in this case is a financial mistake. Maybe we can share some ideas. Elizabeth, do you have any ideas as to why overspending could be a financial mistake from your understanding? What do you think?
Yes, Favor. Overspending is a financial mistake because when you get to overspend, you don't have a plan on how you're supposed to use your finances. And then you would get to a point where you would need to cater for maybe your unforeseen circumstances, like those expenses like sicknesses that you're supposed to take care of, but then you find that you no longer have that money because you've already overspent and you didn't budget and save your finances.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for that perspective, Elizabeth. Yeah, so overspending is actually a financial mistake. So let's just proceed and just look at a few other financial mistakes that we can get to identify. Not having a budget. Mr. Roger, maybe you can shed some light on this. What do you think? Is this a financial mistake, and how can it be a financial mistake?
Yeah, just like Elizabeth has earlier explained on overspending. Overspending, you overspend as a result of not having a budget. Because when you have a budget, you're going to spend as per the budget. But now, when you're spending without the budget, you end up buying things by mistake. So it in its own is a mistake because you end up buying things that you are not even supposed to buy. And there is, to whatever you do, there is an opportunity cost.
Yeah.
There is a cost that you forgo certain benefits because you've used money for things that you're not supposed to use. At the end of the day, you find yourself now in a situation where you are not supposed to be if you had done a budget and do spending based on the budget.
Yeah. Okay, so also I think having a budget is one thing, right? But the discipline to stick to it also now matters, because you can have a budget and then close your eyes and go and do whatever it is that you want.
Yeah. That one is also a mistake, because why should you even waste time coming up with a budget which you're not going to follow?
which you're not going to follow. That's it. Sometimes it happens. It doesn't happen to you, Elizabeth Jokabi. It doesn't. You write a budget and then you enter the ball. Especially, I'm asking Elizabeth and Jokabi because they are women, and women are the ones who maybe have such testimonies.
Yes, it does happen a lot. So one thing we need to just stick to our budgets so that we don't overspend and we don't go outside of our budgets.
How about you, Jokabi? What causes it? You write like a budget and then you go in the mall. Yeah, the things now just look beautiful all of a sudden.
I don't know. I think I'd say we have more expenses. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. And then you go back home and then you know that, Mr. Roger, where you make a budget, then you overspend, and then you start making a new budget based on what you have overspent. Okay, so here I spent this much, so I'll change. I'll put this. That's interesting. So yeah, overspending can be a financial mistake. Let's also, oh, sorry, not having a budget. Well, not. And then we have carrying high interest debt. This can also be a financial mistake because when you have high interest debt, you are high geared. What they say in finance is that the term that is
Yeah. If your capacity to pay, I mean your capacity to pay back the loan seems to
yes.
be, then you are highly geared. Yes, meaning your assets are lower than your
Yeah.
debt.
Yes. Okay, yeah. So having high interest debt is actually bad because now you spend your money trying to pay off this interest rather than actually doing things that will be more productive for you. Getting scammed. Yeah, this is also a financial mistake, actually. Actually, getting scammed is a result of greed, even. What do you think, Elizabeth? Do you think it's always as a result of greed? Or maybe I'm too harsh.
Well, I would say, yeah, partly it is a source of greed, but on the other hand, I would say maybe a person will be trying to take a risk,
Yes.
so they end up getting scammed in the process.
No, there's no such thing. You are trying to take a risk and then I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Yokabi, what do you think? Getting scammed, is it because of greed? What does Yokabi think? Are you there?
Oh, sorry,
I think
I was speaking up. Uh,
with the mic.
I'm trying to make money. Why are you calling it greed? I was trying to make some
You are trying to make some money, yeah.
quick money. I was not trying to be greedy. I was promised quick money.
That's interesting. But whenever you're spending money in an investment, you're supposed to know the ropes of how that money is going to be multiplied and things like that. So if someone just tells you quick money and you invest, that's great now. You don't have to work hard. You just want to pluck the fruits. No, but it's the argument actually, people could argue as to what causes people to get scammed. Sometimes it's lack of information, but ultimately it's a mistake, right? Yeah, ultimately it's a mistake. And most times when people get scammed, from what I've noticed, they stop taking risks. But actually, that's the worst thing to do because getting scammed doesn't mean you have to stop taking risks. No, it doesn't mean that. If you get scammed, you just have to learn from the experience, learn how to identify what is legitimate, what's not legitimate, and continue taking risks either way. Otherwise, we'll never know what is new, right? According to the growth mindset, especially, we'll never get to move forward and develop ourselves further. I have one that's interesting, a financial mistake, and this is waiting too long to prepare for retirement. How is this a financial risk? Roger, what do you think on this one?
Basically, in most cases, when you have that mind to say, no, I will invest once I get my retirement package, you
Yeah.
you overspend. Whenever money comes in, you overspend. then you're also likely to not to have a budget because you think a bigger investment will be done when I get my retirement package. So this becomes, I think, one of the biggest
Yeah.
mistakes, because you find that all those small mistakes, you make them. You do things carelessly, thinking, no, when I get my retirement package, everything will be sorted out. Forgetting that whatever monies that you are accumulating, at the end of the day, it is also losing value.
Yeah.
Yeah, things are getting expensive on daily basis. So I think it's a waste mistake. I can call it.
That's actually a very interesting perspective, Roger. Calling it the West mistake, right? Because you're expecting this large sum of money to come in the future, and then now you make all the kinds of mistakes now in the present. You make all the kinds of mistakes because you're having this future expectation of a future income. So that's interesting. Elizabeth, what do you think about taking too long to prepare for retirement? What could cause that possibly?
I think it's being caused by maybe being too comfortable, staying in the comfort zone. You'll be telling yourself, oh, okay, when I get a large sum of money, that's when I'll start to invest or save for retirement. I think it's
Yeah.
just getting too comfortable.
Mhm. Okay, interesting perspective. How about you, Wakabi? Especially when you observe people within Kenya as well. What do you think causes people not to prepare for retirement?
Uh, for me, I'd also say people are too comfortable with the present rather than focusing on
Mhm.
the future. And they're not open to taking risks. And without taking risks, you never grow. You want to get stuck in your old ways. So people
Yeah.
don't move what they know. I think that it's a mindset. I would say for people, it's a mindset problem where they get too comfortable and they don't want to move. So, but I don't know how the future is supposed to plan
Yeah.
itself.
Okay. Interesting perspective there. Thanks for that, Nukabi. So let's move on and try to explore other financial mistakes that are out there. There is buying a bad product. Yeah, yeah, this one. You know where it's not just a cheap product, eh? You buy an expensive one, and then if something was supposed to last you how long? It's gone. Yeah, this one is actually a big one as well that draws people back. So I think we can have one or two experiences to share on how buying a bad product is actually uh, a, a financial mistake. So actually, on buying a bad product in financial literacy, there's what they call consumer protection, learning about how to be a proper consumer, right? So maybe in the future as well, in our discussions, we can even invite some people to come and educate us and teach us on what it means to be a good consumer. Otherwise, if you're not responsible in how we consume our products and services, how we purchase what we consume, it leads us into problems ultimately. So financial mistakes are not only found in the things that we invest in. Some people think financial mistakes are only made on investments. You get what I mean? Like where it's only about investing, but it's actually also about what you buy. Are you buying something durable? Are you buying something that will serve its purpose? Are you buying something that is making sense for the current financial situation that you are in, right? Yeah. Then we also have misusing credit cards. I think this is something that makes intuitive sense. It's related also to the debt, high interest debt. Debt in itself is not bad, but the misuse of it is what causes problems. And not paying taxes on time. Yeah, this is also a big issue because when you don't pay taxes on time, what will happen? you get penalties and all those things, which you start paying for things that you're not even supposed to pay ultimately, right? So these are things that we should always make sure that we're on top of things to make sure we avoid these mistakes. Not getting financial education. So Mr. Roger said the biggest one is for not planning retirement. For me, I feel this is the big on this forum. Actually, you're one step closer to at least cleaning up the mind so that we have a proper financial discipline. Yeah, so I've got a question for those on the forum with us today. Maybe Elizabeth, Roger, and Yokabi. Maybe you can share with us today. What financial mistakes have you made in your life, and how did you learn from these financial mistakes? Especially that we are learning about having this growth mindset and learning from our mistakes. So who would like to go first on this one? Ladies first. Yes, Elizabeth. Feel free to
Okay,
unmute.
okay, thank you. Well, I'm one person who's guilty of spending on impulse. So I'm one person who used to overspend a lot. When I would get maybe say my salary, I would just maybe say buy a few basics, and then I will save a little for my transport expenses. But then the rest I would just buy. If I would see nice clothes, I would buy. If I would see maybe shoes, whatever I would like, I would just buy. So yeah, whenever okay, say maybe 2 months down the line, 2 weeks in fact, I would start to eat into my transport money, and then I would start to borrow from others, telling them, okay, I'll pay you month end, I'll pay you by month end. But then come month end, I would already be paying my debts.
Yeah.
So I'll be having a debt that I would have to settle, and then the cycle repeats itself. So yeah, it used to be
Yeah.
that bad. It used to be that bad. So yeah, I would find that it would go on, and then I would find myself that I'll be trapped in debt. So yeah, that was a big mistake that I would do.
Okay, that's actually an interesting one. What did you learn from the experience, though?
Okay, I learned that I wouldn't go forward in this situation that I was in. So I thought I need to change. For me to progress, for me to set other obligations, I would need to change the way I spend my money. I would need to budget. I would need to
Yeah.
plan my finances, how I use them and how I spend them.
Yeah. Okay, interesting perspective. Thanks for that, Elizabeth. In the future, we're going to make sure we have those presets for podcasts so that when someone finishes talking, we can clap. Woo! That's interesting. So thank you very much for that, Elizabeth. I can see Roger is trying to clap there. So, Yokabi, would you like to also share with us an experience that you had maybe where you had a financial mistake and what you learned from it, or made the financial mistake? Hi, H Sungu. Okay, yeah. Go ahead, Yokabi.
So for me, my biggest financial mistake, okay, it starts with I know I am an overspender, and budgeting
Yeah.
is also an issue. But I also came to notice that the reason why I'm overspending and my budgets are not working is because the money that is coming in is not enough. So my biggest financial
Okay.
mistake is having financial knowledge, because my mind was set on one way of making money, that I had to work really hard for me to make money, and I was stuck in that one system. So now the little I'm getting is I'm constantly in a cycle where I'm not getting myself out. So, and then I actually came across someone saying that your bank account is a reflection of the knowledge of how you make money. Looked at myself and looked at my account, and
That's harsh.
so uh, this is something could
Yeah,
not. Yeah. I don't know how to make money, so that is why I don't have money. So for me, financial literacy is my biggest. So right now, and I only thought that financial literacy only meant like saving and investing, but it's not just that words. It's so
yeah,
much deep, so much to learn. So for me, that is my mistake, and how I learned from my this mistake is that I'm constantly trying to understand how money is made and multiplied, and then also learning the discipline. Now that you want to create this extra income that is coming in, how are you going to manage it and multiply it and sustain it? So yeah, that's my financial plan, Audrey.
yeah. That's deep. That's deep. Woo, 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 woo. Yeah, you see why I need to have those presets. So that I just press the button and we start clapping. Yeah. So and we'll call sponsors to come and buy us presets and the like as part of financial literacy planning. Okay, thanks for that, Nyokabi. You know, actually what Nyokabi has said, I feel like very few people have got that perspective on finance, where you find yourself in a place where you want to spend, but you can't. So instead of looking at the fact that you just don't have money, normally we look at the side of you guilt trip yourself and think of yourself as a bad person for having desires. But desires are for everyone. Desires are there. Just learn how to make money so that you fulfill those desires. It's an interesting perspective. It goes both ways, huh? It goes both ways ultimately. It's like a scale. It has to be balanced. Because what happens ultimately, even from my experience, from what Nokabi is talking about, once you start learning how hard it is to make money and have multiple income streams, you will not even want to spend carelessly anymore. You will be very conscious about your spending because now you know to say, money is not something to play with. Yeah, so it's a balanced scale at the end of the day. You become disciplined and it's interesting. Thanks for that perspective, Mukabe. And Mr. Roger, can you also share an experience with us?
Anyway, my experience, I think it can be explained in a vernacular language. So I don't know whether Nyokabi and
Okay.
Elizabeth will be able to. Anyway,
We are not.
Let me try to interpret it. I think the biggest financial mistake I have made is failing to separate emotional, making a financial decision using emotions. Instead of separating the two. I think that is the biggest financial mistake I've made. Making financial judgment using emotions. There was a point when I wanted to learn how to drive. Looked for someone who can help me, paid everything in full. But what happened was that guy, when I go there, he tells me, no, today I'm a bit busy. The other day I forced him, so he had to drove very fast for us to get to a place where I can now start learning. So in the process, we were involved in an accident, though it was not very serious. And from there, my emotions were too high, such that I even forgot how much I'd paid. And I said, it's okay. I'm stopping. And when I stopped, I lost the money. I also lost the time. at the end of the day, when
Yeah.
another opportunity came for me to actually start driving, it was a challenge because I attached financial decisions with my emotions, how I felt.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think that is one of the biggest issue when it comes to me. But I'm trying to learn to control that aspect, so that even when you are called stupid in our that other business, you're not going to attach so much what emotions to it. At the end of the day, even that which is coming your way, you end up losing it financially.
Yes.
So I think
Yeah.
it's
Ish,
something
these
that
are
I am.
actually deep perspective. Yeah. Thank you very much for that, Roger. That's a very insightful perspective there. Separating emotions when you're making financial decisions, right? Aish, that's hard. Man was emotions, so it's a good catalyst for emotions. It's a very good catalyst for emotions when it comes to money. I thought someone would talk about getting scammed. None of us have been scammed. For me, I have been scammed. So I thought as if Elizabeth would talk about getting scammed and what happened. Yeah. For me, I got scammed. I was buying an engine for a BMW, 6-cylinder engine. And I decided to buy it from South Africa. My God, that money. Hey. But yeah, I learned I should never buy engines from South Africa. I'll just Your copy is laughing. I'm just joking. South Africa is a great place to buy things. So guys, if you're watching from South Africa, yeah.
With me, when it comes to buying things online, I don't. I am just an odd guy. I'm just an
You don't buy
odd-minded
it.
person. I want to give you physically. I give you cash. You give me the item.
Let me give this guys.
It's better I give you
The
physical
buying
cash,
things
or
online is interesting.
I receive first, then I transfer because
Very
of the same.
interesting. Yeah. Then you transfer. No, but ultimately, running an online business is very, very interesting because that's when you get to see how good you are at building trust with people. When you're running an online business, because that guy who scammed me, he really built trust with me. Made me very confident to say, this guy has the engine. Sent me nice pictures of the engine. Yeah. My God, that engine has never arrived in Zambia. Yeah, but it was an interesting experience. But what I did learn though was whenever you're making purchases online, it's very important to even triple check or something to check the reputation of the organization that you're dealing with. Which I did, but it just showed me how much more important it is to do that. And it also taught me if I'm conducting an online business, I have to learn also how to be present, visible, and make sure people can validate me. Because ultimately, if people can't do that, hey, it's difficult to do business online. Because they had the website, eh? Imagine. They had the website, but still, that website is still there today. When I go on the website, it's still there. But I didn't get the engine. So ultimately, due diligence is very important whenever you're making expenditures or investments, especially if you're dealing with online. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't ultimately, because doing things online is actually a beautiful thing. I mean, I'm not like Mr. Roger who's what's good. Yeah, that's interesting. So thanks for those experiences, guys. It's very interesting that we've actually shared some of these experiences. And I think to wrap up this discussion in a very interesting way, there's somebody who we can learn from, because we do 3 segments. So we've done our first segment where we have gone through our book summary, and then we've had our topic of the day where we've discussed how we can turn financial mistakes into lessons. Now, we are getting into our third segment where we actually look at companies, organizations that have become successful. And when it comes to this topic of learning from mistakes, the growth mindset, there's no better organization that we can hear from or learn from than Dyson. I don't know if we have ever heard of Dyson before, Okay, even on the forum, I don't know if you've heard of Dyson before, but Dyson is the organization that revolutionized vacuum cleaners. Dyson is actually an inventor, it's a person. So he revolutionized what we know today as a vacuum cleaner. And we're going to see how he did it in a minute. So let's connect with the video where we can learn from Dyson experiences, and then we can come and share our thoughts and insights afterwards and see how we can conclude today's discussion. So I'll be with you shortly.
Imagine you had an itch, one that as soon as you scratched it, it popped up elsewhere on your body. And this kept happening. The more you scratched, the more the itch jumped around, like a never-ending game of whack-a-mole. And imagine you had to do this over 5,000 times before the itch finally went away. Well, that's kind of what Sir James Dyson did when he developed the first ever bagless vacuum cleaner. He spent tens of thousands of hours in his garden shed tinkering ever so slightly on this invention, which he ultimately ended up making 5,127 prototypes before he finally produced the perfect machine. The rest, you could say, is history. Dyson are the Apple of the household products and appliances world. Innovative product after innovative product, they've actually made the likes of vacuums, hand dryers and curling tongs sexy. Well, maybe not sexy, but at least cool. But they wouldn't have become the $6.6 billion company that they are today without James Dyson showing immense resilience. His story is one of setbacks, frustrations, and constant flirtation with financial ruin. The face of resilience that Sir James Dyson ultimately embodies is that of perseverance, the ability to keep going even when the odds are stacked against you. As mentioned at the start of the video, he made 5,127 prototypes of his bagless vacuum cleaner before actually developing something that worked exactly the way he wanted. He'd spend most of his waking hours 7 days a week throughout all seasons in his garden shed to fine-tune and problem solve. His goal was to incorporate a cyclone into a vacuum cleaner so that it retained optimum suction, because at the time vacuums worked by putting in a vacuum bag and replacing these after they filled up. But Dyson noticed that the suction of even the best vacuums wasn't compromised by a full bag. It was actually that these bags got clogged up with fine dust particles the second you started using them. But incorporating a cyclone was easier said than done. These were typically used in factories and sawmills and were up to 30 feet high and wide. Miniaturizing this seemed almost an impossible task. But Dyson decided to take a patient and deliberate approach. With every prototype, he made the smallest of change and recorded the difference that this made. And it ultimately took 15 years until he reached his final and fully functional prototype of the G-Force. And this is a clear portrayal of perseverance through the act of appreciating small increments. Dyson was not deterred by this never-ending conveyor belt of failures and frustrations. In 2007, in an interview with Fast Company, he said, "I made 5,127 prototypes of my vacuum before I got it right. There were 5,127 failures. But I learned from each one. That's how I came up with the solution. So I don't mind failure." Those who truly embody perseverance are people who break down the bigger picture into very small jigsaw puzzle pieces. They appreciate that to get something right, you have to gradually place each one in its spot, and that every one successfully placed is one step closer to the goal or ambition that you're trying to reach. But even after solving the engineering dilemma, they rejected him. Deep down, a lot of those in the industry wanted to keep bagged vacuum cleaners, given that selling these bags was a key source of revenue. And at that time in the late 1980s, a $100 million industry, literally just selling vacuum bags. But Dyson again persevered. He wasn't afraid to rock the boat and defy the status quo. And eventually he licensed his vacuum cleaner to a small Japanese company, and it had moderate success, albeit at a hefty price tag of $2,500. And after this initial success, Dyson became inspired to manufacture and sell his vacuum cleaners himself. So he took the plunge to set up his own company, Dyson, in 1991. After securing a loan of £600,000 from his bank, in which he had to put up his house as collateral, Dyson soon set up his own research centre and factory in Wiltshire. And soon after, Dyson managed to convince all major British retailers to sell his new dual cyclone vacuum after an iconic advertising campaign based around the slogan, "Say goodbye to the bag." And within 2 years, the Dyson Dual Cyclone Vacuum became the best-selling vacuum cleaner within the entire UK, with revenues hitting over $100 million. And from this amazing snowball of success, it's important to recognise another aspect of Sir James Dyson's perseverance: the idea of being able to ignore naysayers. Whenever someone tries to do something different or innovative, they will be met with endless skepticism and people so far set in their ways that they won't budge. And in some cases, the only thing to do is just like what Dyson also did to vacuum bags: say goodbye to them. Since the success of James Dyson's vacuums in the UK, followed by the US and now globally, his company is now continually responsible for many of the amazing feats of innovation that we've seen over the past 25 years. But this has only come from decades of perseverance. He was swimming in debt during his 40s whilst trying to raise a family, was met with a lack of enthusiasm whenever trying to pitch his idea, and faced an endless conveyor belt of frustrations and failures in the pursuit of developing a brand new technology. But in sticking to what he knew to be a much needed solution for millions of people, he eventually achieved the success that he fully deserves. And he is a role model that we can all turn to during the times we feel pained by the situation we're in. And this is best summarised by Sir James Dyson himself in saying that
Yeah, so that's about Sir Dyson. He's kind of like Thomas Edison of our time, like the new version. You know how Thomas Edison was when inventing the bulb? How many times did he try? Is it 1,000 to 10,000? So I've been forgotten about Thomas. Now I know Dyson. So yeah, Elizabeth, what do you think about Dyson's story?
Okay, I think that's one great story of perseverance, that when you need to do something, you just need to persevere. Despite having failed those 5,100 times, he still pushed forward to make sure that his dream came true, his dream became a reality. So it teaches us to be patient and to ignore the negative sentiments that people will be sharing about whatever we want to pursue. Thank you.
Yeah. You know what I like about those failures that he went through? He kept making improvements every time. Okay, I think that's where that's the defining factor. Because times, you know, people fail without learning, huh? Like it actually happens. 5,000 times failing without any lesson. So it's one thing to fail, it's another to get the lesson. They are two different things. Yeah. So when we fail, or when we don't do something, we don't have an outcome in the way that we wanted it to come out. Because failure sometimes may be too harsh, maybe to process. So if it's just a small thing, like you plan something, but it didn't come out the way it had to come out, if we can learn from such type of experiences, then we can get better. Because he applied the same principle when coming up with the modern vacuum cleaner today, which doesn't use, the bags. A long time ago, a vacuum cleaner used to use the bag where it's taking dirt inside the bag. Today, it's not like that. The vacuum cleaner now is very, different today because of it. Yeah, so yeah, it's interesting from that point of view. Even Nama hair dryers, he's revolutionized how all these things operate through his inventions, just starting with the vacuum cleaner. So it's interesting. Mr. Roger, any thoughts from you?
I think even from the biblical point of view, what matters the most is the vision. Where you have a vision, it really helps. Because for me, actually, I cannot call it 5,000 failing. Because at the end of the day, if he was really failing, then I'm sure I would have stopped. You understand my point? You know where you want to be,
Mhm.
but when you try this, you are not there. Because for me, failing is,
We're not there. Yeah.
yes, failing is, you know, to say this is where I'm supposed to be. Then I don't get there. Then you are going to say, no, actually, Roger, you failed. Okay? But if you don't know where I'm supposed to be, you cannot judge me
Yes.
that I
Yeah.
failed. You understand my
Yeah.
point?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
with me,
True.
if you had wanted, would have said, okay, what I've done, this is the product. But with him, we said, no,
Yes.
this is not where I want to be. That's why he kept on improving it to the point where now I said, okay, this is what I want. So in most cases, when you have a defined vision, it helps you to move on, even when others are going to say, no, you're not going to do it, because they're not the one who have defined your vision.
Yeah, true. That's true. Aye, that's deep. Thanks for that, Roger. That's a brilliant perspective. Yokabi, give us the Kenyan wisdom. From which tribe? Which tribe are you representing today?
Kiti, the Kikuyu.
Yeah?
The Kikuyu community.
Okay, so the Kikuyu community. That's interesting. So give us the Kikuyu wisdom.
For me, take a rejection as a fine-tuning process. That he had this prototype, but it wasn't working for him. So he decided to create more value out of this prototype by fine-tuning the process. So he kept failing until he made the prototype that he made the right prototype. And by this, I believe that once you create value, that is when success matches up with you, because after all these failures, he tuned until he got the right product. That is when success.
Yeah, very interesting. Thanks for that, Yokabi. For me, actually, and from my understanding, even human beings can go through the same process, right? Like we started our discussion today. We started with talking about how our brains can change and get rewired, and how we can grow and learn. So even as a human being, I can call myself a prototype. I have where I want to be, and then what vision am I? Okay, I have a lot of visions. Maybe I'm moving on vision number 10,000 and something right now. Hey, what vision are you, Roger? Your vision what? That's interesting.
Because Nyokabi is watching, let me just keep it.
So that's good. So, guys, it's been an interesting conversation. We've been learning about learning from our financial mistakes, and we have talked about the growth mindset. We've looked at what some of the financial mistakes that exist out there, and we've looked at the story of Dyson to just give us some perspective and inspiration on how perseverance really does matter as we have this journey towards learning and growth, right? So with that said, I want to thank everybody for joining us today online in the Zoom forum. If you want to interact with these lovely people, myself, Roger, and any other person who will be joining us, feel free to join us in the Zoom as well, so that we can get to interact and just get to learn from each other, right? Otherwise, this has been another financial literacy forum to you. Is there anything, guys, any closing remarks that you'd like to deliver? Or are we good? If we're good, you can just give a thumbs up.
Party shots. Growth mindset requires 1%. Improving yourself 1% every day. Just that. Let's work on improving ourselves. Just 1%.
Yeah, it doesn't even have to be a lot. Thanks for that, Nikabi. 1% every day, guys. Let's make it happen. So it's bye-bye from me and the team. See you next time.
Bye. Thank you.